What's going on, guys? So I'm sitting here and I should be doing my Portuguese practice because I've got a kid on the way. I have a son who, well, I'm a few months away from having a son, but he's coming in June, and my wife is Brazilian, and I want to get my Portuguese to such a level that we can just speak Portuguese at home. So I thought I would make this video to talk about language learning, my goals, and I guess where I'm going in the future with languages and what I want to achieve. And yeah, I don't know, I just wanted to sit down and chat to you guys today informally about language learning goals, everything like that. Anyway, so I guess my background, for any of you guys who have been following me for a while, you may know a little bit about it. For those of you who have never heard of me, never seen me before, my name's Pete. I teach Australian English online, but my background with language learning is that I learnt through high school and primary school, and I was horrible. I was absolutely horrible at languages, which is a story, if you guys are language learners, that you will have probably heard from almost every single person who has ever learnt a foreign language or multiple foreign languages. It seems like the more languages that someone learns later in life, the more often that the story of theirs from when they were young is that they were horrible at learning languages. Anyway, that was very much my case. I was very average at Japanese, which I did in primary school, and Indonesian. You just never really took it seriously. You had one teacher, you had a few lessons every week, if that, and you would do an hour, 2 hours, that'd be about it. In high school, I started to make some progress with languages like French and Chinese, although Chinese was a completely different animal, very, very, very difficult, and it was a nightmare to try and do in year 12 because in Australia, a lot of immigrants are Chinese and speak Chinese at home, even if they were born in Australia, and so they would often do that subject to score well. And the way in which it works with scoring in year 12, the final year of high school, is that you are ranked compared to everyone else. And so there were so many Chinese people doing Chinese that if you were a non-native speaker doing it as a second language, you had very, 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 I guess you had a lot of difficulty trying to score well. So your time was best spent doing another subject that you were potentially worse at, okay? Anyway, so I did French all throughout high school, did it for 6 years, got to probably just below fluency. I could sort of converse over small things and ask for directions, discuss the weather, that sort of stuff, but I never really dived in deep. I never really sort of connected with the language and the culture and everything. Fast forward 10 years after that, so when I was about 27, 28, I decided to pick it up again and try and learn it to fluency, try and really sort of, knuckle it out, work hard. And I spent hours and hours every day for about 6 months just studying, playing Duolingo on my phone, looking for resources online, submitting writing online for others to correct when you correct their English writing. You can do that on some websites, finding partners to speak with. So I did that for 6 months and I got to the point where I was fluent, which surprised me because I did that from Australia. I wasn't overseas, I wasn't in France. And so that kind of blew me away, right? Because I'd spent 6 years at high school, going to classes, trying to learn the material that I was sort of forced to learn. Like you went to these classes expecting the teacher to teach, right? But in reality, it should be that you go to these classes and you learn, or that you teach yourself, right? My view is that teachers don't really teach, or at least their position isn't really to teach. Their position is to inspire. It's to give you exposure to content to inspire you to want to go further in your own time, or to dive into the culture, dive into the material yourself, to want to do more, right? Because there's only so many minutes in a class, and if that's the only time you're spending learning a language, it's going to take decades. If you're doing 2 classes a week at high school, it's going to take you decades to get to a point where you're fluent. It'll never happen. So anyway, I realized pretty quickly after I started studying French at home and studying it a lot and falling in love with the language, reading books, watching TV shows, and really absorbing, it didn't feel like work. It felt like just having fun, solving problems, every time I learned a new word, it was like, oh, that I just unlocked a little bit more. I got experience points on the game that is learning a language to fluency. And so I fell in love with that process. And I think that's probably the case with most of you guys watching if you're learning a language, if you speak multiple languages that you've learned later in life, not just from birth, right? Then I'm sure that you guys know how addictive that process is, especially how satisfying it is as you start to sort of unlock new areas of a language and understand more and dive in. I guess more recently, after I did that with French, I did it with Portuguese. So again, I'd sort of dabbled a little bit with Portuguese because I did Jiu-Jitsu, which is a martial art that originally came from Japan, got taken to Brazil, got picked up there in the 50s and 60s, I think, by some Brazilians in a family called the Gracies, and they changed the martial art completely. So it was effectively like judo and karate mixed together in Japan. Once it got to Brazil, the guys mixed it more with ground wrestling and grappling. So I started doing that martial art and I started meeting a lot of Brazilians. And so I was like, okay, now that I like this process of learning a language, especially once I'd gotten to a level in French where I could converse and I wasn't learning as much new stuff all the time. You kind of miss being a beginner, right, at learning a language. And this is what I think a lot of polyglots, those people who are sort of obsessive about learning different languages and tend to learn quite a lot, they get obsessed or addicted to that feeling of learning a new language. And that's why they tend to gather quite a lot of them, right? So where was I? So yeah, Portuguese, was doing that because of Brazil, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a lot of Brazilians, and it took a little while. I sort of fumbled about a bit. I didn't really take it that seriously. I was sort of more focused on French, and then I was finishing my doctorate and my PhD at the same time, so I just didn't have time to dive in. But then I met my current wife, and she's from Brazil, and once we moved in together, it just went through the roof. However, it was a concerted effort. I had to make a concerted effort to improve my Portuguese. So a story there was that we moved to Canberra, which is a city, it's the capital of Australia. It's between Sydney and Melbourne, closer to Sydney. And most of the time we were speaking in English. I was trying to learn Portuguese. I was doing a bit, but most of the time we were speaking in English. And after a while, I was sort of like, why are we doing this? You know, she speaks English perfectly. You're not gaining anything from me speaking English with you, or at least you have less to gain than I do with regards to language improvement, right? And so anyway, we switched over and I convinced her, I tried to get her to, and successfully so, I got her to switch to Portuguese all day, every day. So I was just surrounded with it. And so every day we speak Portuguese, and I've been doing that for the last, what is it now? We are in the start of February, so it's probably been 10 months of just speaking Portuguese at home with her. So every single day, at least for hours, I'm doing Portuguese. And I noticed that, shot up through the roof, right, compared to what it was. The interesting thing that I noticed, though, is that with French and Portuguese were like this originally. My French was up here, my Portuguese was down here. And now it's very much the opposite, because I sort of stopped focusing on French, it disappeared, and my Portuguese has skyrocketed up here, and it's way higher than my French. A funny story there that I sort of wanted to talk about was that I've noticed that my French listening abilities haven't really diminished. So I can watch things in French, I can listen to podcasts in French, and I understand everything, but I can't produce the language like I could. So I found that really intriguing, because if you imagine you're listening, or I guess sort of passive skills up here, listening and reading, and your active skills up here are speaking and writing, it was interesting how after I stopped actively practicing French, reading, writing, whatever it was, listening and reading probably diminished a little bit, but not very much, whereas speaking and writing has gone to here. And although I can stumble through things now, I really have to think a lot more. So it's almost like I've lost where the words are, the location of the words in my head, and my brain is always wanting to use Portuguese words, which is funny. So it goes to show how much you kind of need to maintain a language. You have to be talking it, right? It's using it actively all the time, and that's the first thing to go if you stop actively practicing a language. So where am I at currently with things? Well, currently I'm trying to get Portuguese to, ideally, I would like to approach native level. Solely because I'm married to a Brazilian and I have children that are going to come, in the future, and they will speak Portuguese, hopefully, as their L1, their first language, a mother tongue, as they will English as well. So our goal is going to be to speak Portuguese at home for the first 2 years of each one's life, at least. So it's probably going to be Portuguese at home for the next 6 years or more. And that is because we're in Australia at the moment, and obviously we're surrounded by English speakers, whereas there are very few Portuguese speakers. Well, there are some. We encounter quite a few because of Kel, but at least on a day-to-day basis, the kids are only going to be exposed to me and Kel, and so we want to just speak Portuguese at home so they have that constant exposure. In order to do that, I need to get my Portuguese to a certain level. So that's the thought currently. I've sort of done some study on it, and I've also spoken with a lot of Brazilians here in Australia, as well as some English natives who are living in Brazil or who are married to Brazilians, and it seems that they have sort of done the same thing. They tend to speak Portuguese at home if they're not in Brazil, because the other language that's spoken everywhere around them will sort of take care of itself. My parents live a few hundred meters away. My sister and her partner and their kids live about another 150 meters that way. They're going to see them all the time. They're going to be speaking in English. So that's the goal. Aside from that, and that's my goal with Portuguese, is to get to native-like level, or at least approach that. That's the goal. Whether or not I actually ever get there, but that's the aim. With that in mind, though, I have noticed that now at the level I'm at in Portuguese, which is by no means native level, right? I would consider myself fluent. I can talk about most basic things. I can't necessarily dive into physics or brain surgery or anything like that. And quite often I miss a lot of what people are saying, but I can follow conversations generally. So this is where I guess I wanted to talk about goals and having a clear idea of what you want in your head when you're learning a language, whether it's English or any other language. And for me, that has really it's been a real release to kind of, I guess, have a better idea of what I want when I'm learning languages. So now I have started learning Italian and Spanish at the same time as refreshing my French and trying to improve my Portuguese. But whereas before I was like, okay, I can only ever learn one language at a time. I can't, I want to get to native level in every single language that I want to learn because, I want to be the best that I can possibly be in that language. That pressure's kind of been taken off my shoulders because I've realized the most important thing for me is really I just want to be able to communicate with people. And if I can do that in Spanish, in French, in English, in Portuguese, and in Italian, that would make my life. So that's where I guess my goals have kind of changed now. With French, Italian, and Spanish at least, I just basically want to be able to stumble through sentences, stumble through conversations, but be able to communicate with people in those languages if it comes down to it, because I want to go to Europe, I want to go to South America. Those languages are very popular there, spoken in many of those countries, and so they're going to be the most useful to me in terms of traveling there. So yeah, I guess that's sort of it. I'm currently just kind of, I should talk about what I'm doing as well and how I'm learning these languages. So my first sort of goal is to finish Duolingo. There are many different apps out there. There are very many different methods of starting a language, and many people like different things. I'm very visual, and so I really like being able to see the words, see pictures, that kind of thing. And so I like Duolingo, and it's kind of changed more recently. I kind of went off it a few years ago, but more recently it's become a little better without the exercises fading away. They used to fade away and you had to refresh them all the time, and I found that really irritating. It's different from that now, where you have to kind of level up each exercise from level 0 to 5. So anyway, my goal currently is just to use Duolingo to, one, refresh my French, which is pretty easy. Once I go through it, I kind of like, oh, okay, that's how this works. That's that word. I recognize everything because I've already learnt it in the past. So that's the good thing. With Spanish and Italian, I'm going through the tree just to learn the basic 500, 1,000, 2,000 words and get exposure. So my first goal is to go through and finish the tree, the Duolingo tree, which is sort of the whole set of exercises, and expose myself to the language. I don't worry about remembering anything. I just try and go through, see the patterns, get a first pass of the language. I like to call it the first pass, right? Where you first get to see everything, experience everything, the sounds, the grammar, the words, the conjugation of verbs, everything like that, but you don't put pressure on yourself to remember anything. And this is another thing that I think a lot of polyglots, it just clicks with them, where when they are like serial language learners, they don't put pressure on themselves to remember everything. They appreciate that they're going to forget most things 10, 20 times before it really sticks in their head. And they also, I have noticed as well, they, and now me, I'm happy to say, just get rid of that fear of making mistakes. So I don't know if it's like you build confidence or you just stop caring, in which case you have more confidence. But now, especially after doing all this in Portuguese with my wife and seeing all of her friends and spending so much time with them and speaking, 8 hours one day recently we spoke in just Portuguese, and knowing that I can get through it and stumbling through and making heaps of mistakes, but still being able to converse with many people. Now I just feel like that burden is gone. I'm not stressed anymore about being perfect. I don't care if I get genders wrong or if I conjugate verbs incorrectly, because ultimately people are going to understand even if I do that. So that has helped a lot and made me see, what it will be to learn these languages as much less of a journey, I guess, and that was something I wanted to share with you guys and see what you think, especially with English. I have a lot of students who always want to be as good as they can be, but quite often they want to be like native speakers. They want to be perfect. And I ask them, why do you want that for yourself? And quite often the reason that they want to be so good, it doesn't really match, right? They'll be like, I just want to be able to speak with native people. Quite often I'll say to them, but you're talking with me. I'm a native speaker. You're doing well. Like, if you can speak with me currently in a lesson, then, I'm not speaking your native language. We're not getting around your English. You're able to use it to converse. So yeah, this video has probably gone long enough, but that was it. I wanted to chat about language learning. My goals over the next few years are going to be try and get proficient in these 4 languages. I've got French down passively at least. I've got Portuguese down. I want to do Italian and Spanish for now as well. And just have fun with it, really. Enjoy the process, not worry about getting there too quickly, and see how I go. Anyway, I've ranted for quite a while, guys. Let me know if you're learning a language down below that isn't English, or if you are learning English, let me know what you think of this video and what your approach is to leveling up your English. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and I'll chat to you soon. Peace out.